In this Star Wars Jedi Survivor news update video, I will be sharing with you details on the brand new huge update for the game. Patch 7 is here, and in this video, I will be sharing with you all of the patch notes as well as comparisons between patch 6.5 and 7 because there are some significant improvements to the game, including DLSS. Yes, seriously, Respawn have finally added it to the game. Before we do take a look at today's update though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Jedi Survivor. So over the past few weeks, I have been saying in multiple videos of mine that Respawn are working on a big update to help fix performance because based on the SteamDB backend data, there has been a lot of movement, a lot of things have been going on, and today it has arrived. The big update is finally here. EA and Respawn put out a new blog post saying patch 7 details September 5th, and it is now live on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. So on all platforms right now you are able to download patch 7, which comes with some significant performance improvements. The download size comes in at 1.3GB on Xbox. The PC version is 3.7GB in size, whilst the PS5 download size is 3.1GB. Now let's get into the patch notes themselves, because this is by far the biggest performance improvement patch we have seen since launch. Respawn states this patch introduces several performance-related improvements on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, including performance mode being completely reworked to substantially improve player experience. A number of GPU and CPU optimizations along with the disabling of ray tracing has resulted in better player experience, including a solid 60 frames per second in performance mode. I will be showing you what this new performance mode does look like later on in the video. Respawn go on to say that quality mode has also received some optimizations to help reduce FPS fluctuation and introduce other visual improvements. Variable refresh rate support has been added to the PS5, and additional performance and optimization improvements have been made to the PC version, including the addition of Nvidia's DLSS technology, which is one of the greatest steps forward in PC gaming in recent years. It is fantastic in so many games, and this game should have launched with it. I went through the files to find which version of DLSS this is, and I can confirm it is 3.1.13.0, which released late June. This does include frame generation support on 40 series GPUs. In case you don't know what DLSS is, it's an upscaling technology that is far superior to what the game had previously, FSR2. You'll still have FSR2 if you wish to use that, but if you have an Nvidia GPU that supports DLSS, such as the 2030 and 40 series cards, then you are going to want to use DLSS. I will have a comparison later on in this video. Respawn have also introduced save system tweaks to help prevent save game corruption. On top of that, they have fixed issues where players could not retrieve their XP after dying under certain circumstances. Various crash fixes have been introduced, as well as various bug fixes and improvements across all platforms, including fixes for cloth, lighting and UI, so you will be experiencing less clipping for some of the appearances, I'd imagine. Respawn does note that the cutscenes and cinematics in Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the Xbox Series X and S, as well as PS5, are still locked to 60 frames per second, probably because they are so high quality and they couldn't quite get it down to being locked at 60. They end the patch notes by saying thank you for all the continued support you've given Star Wars Jedi Survivor while we've been hard at work on patches. As always, let us know if you do run into any additional issues. I really hope this isn't the final patch for the game. I hope they still continue to add some improvements here and there, because the game can always be improved, and I'm sure people will still spot some bugs. Let's now move on to a comparison between the brand new version of the game compared to patch 6.5 on the PC and the Xbox. I don't own a PS5, so I can't test that, but that was in the best shape. So let's get started with the PC version. I'm going to be doing two tests, one with FSR2 enabled, just like with patch 6, and one with DLSS enabled, because that is a more fair example of how the game has come along without DLSS, because not everyone will have a card that supports it. As always, I'm running my benchmark test of running through Rambler's Reach from the very start to the other end through the settlement in a straight line, because this was where it was most demanding for me on my PC, and it was easily repeatable. So as you can see, it is yet another in and around 10 FPS increase, which is good. It is still not a locked 60 frames per second, which is not good, but it spends most of its time in this benchmark over 60 frames per second, and it even goes into over 70 frames per second, which is a first. FSR is in quality mode in both of these tests, and you can also see that CPU and GPU usage has also changed between the patches. So CPU usage is actually down around 10 or more percent, whilst GPU usage is up around the same, if not more. They have clearly made the game less heavy on the CPU and to take more advantage of GPUs. As for when ray tracing is on in the latest update, I actually found that performance did seem to be a little bit worse. So this is not good to see, and I really would like to see ray tracing performance improve because it does look better with it enabled, and it's just such a shame that performance is still in the mid-40s to 50s, and sometimes lower. Now for the most interesting comparison, and this is what we have been waiting so long for, FSR2 versus DLSS2. So you can clearly see here that FSR2 does have the slight advantage in terms of FPS. It's only between 1 or 5 FPS more depending on the scene, but the visual quality is just far superior using DLSS. For me, I am happy to take that 1 to 5 FPS hit because DLSS just resolves the image far better. It's just much clearer, especially when you are doing fast movements. An issue FSR had with this game is Cal's facial hair and fur and other hair in the game. It's just not good enough, whereas DLSS does not have a problem with it. Performance is not where I'd have liked it to have been for DLSS, however, this is in quality mode, so you are able to turn it down to balanced or better performance if you wish to do so. You also have the option to turn on frame generation in the settings now, as you can see here. Speaking of changes to settings, let's now take a look at the Xbox version, which has seen some slight change. So when you go into the display settings, it will say that ray tracing will be disabled in performance mode now. That is true. They have disabled ray tracing finally on PS5 and Xbox Series X in performance mode, so it targets 60 frames per second properly. Whilst I am not able to actually count the frames accurately, you can clearly see that the new patch is more smooth. The downside of this is you do lose ray tracing, however I think most people will want to be turning that off and playing in performance mode. For me, I tried quality mode for the first time since I got the game on Xbox at launch, and 30 frames per second Jedi Survivor is horrible. Do not play it this way unless you really don't like 60 frames per second. Just to show you what I mean, here is a comparison between patch 7 on the Xbox Series X, performance mode on the left, and then quality mode on the right, so ray tracing on, and they're both at 1080p, and yeah, it's just much better to play in performance mode. Let me know down in the comment section below any of your thoughts on what I've showed you in this video. Please do drop a like to help support the channel, subscribe so you don't miss any future news updates on the game, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, please do click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.